Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the French American Chamber of Commerce, thank you all for being here today. And on behalf of Business France, we welcome you to our webinar, Unlocking International Talent through the V.I.E. and J-1 Visa Program. I'm Rihanna Quiroga. I'm a Senior Account and Development Manager at the French American Chamber of Commerce, and I work directly on our International Career Development team. So I specialize in our J-1 Visa program. And today I'm gathered here with Rachel from Business France. So Rachel, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rihanna. So my name is Rachel Geistfeld, and I'm a talent development consultant for the V.I.E. program at Business France.
Thank you. So today's webinar, we're going to have a kind of brief overview of the V.I.E. and the J-1 Visa program. So we're going to do this through a brief presentation. After this presentation, we are going to have an insightful panel discussion with some special guests from our valued host company, Cartier. After this panel discussion, we will have time for a Q&A session. So if you do have questions, just feel free to write them in the Q&A box, and we'll make sure to address them at the end of this webinar. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll hand the mic to Rachel from Business France to begin discussing about the V.I.E. program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rihanna. Thank you, Camille and Federica, and thank you so much to everybody for coming. Again, my name is Rachel Geistfeld, and I'm a talent development consultant for the V.I.E. program at Business France. I work with companies who are interested in using the program, as well as companies who are already clients of the program. And for VAs across the United States and Canada, I'm one of a team of 5 who are here as their contact in North America while they're on mission. So we'll get started with the presentation. Mary, could I please ask you to go ahead to one more slide, please? Thank you so much. So to share a little bit more about Business France, if you have not heard of us before, essentially we are the agency that's responsible for internationalizing the French economy. So for French companies with a presence abroad or who are looking to expand internationally, or the reverse for companies outside of France who are looking to expand into France or invest in French projects, Business France is the agency that can help. We have 4 main sectors of activity: agri-food, art de vivre and service, health, and industry and tech. And as part of our mission to internationalize the French economy, we also manage the V.I.E. program. So could I ask you to go to the next slide, please? To share a little more about the program itself, the V.I.E., or the Volontariat International en Entreprise, if you were wondering what it stood for in French, is a program that allows companies to recruit a candidate from France or from Europe for a professional mission abroad, in the United States for here up to 18 months. For companies of any size, if there is a role that you're trying to fill, be it for a business developer, for newer companies, or maybe for larger companies, a marketing specialist, an engineer for a specific project, an IT specialist, accounting, etc. Essentially, any role that you need filled, the V.I.E. program can help you find a talented candidate, likely one with a master's degree. Business France handles all of the administrative aspects. The contract is actually between Business France and the candidate, so there's no contractual link between your company and the V.I.E. Plus, the program is low cost and tax-free. To share a little bit more about the cost, could I ask you to go to the next slide, please? Thank you. The monthly bill is actually handled by your team in France, and it's composed of 3 elements. There's the base allowance for VIEs who are anywhere in the world that currently sits at 772 euros and 87 cents. There's also the geographic allowance, which varies based on where the VIE is completing their mission. As we're all aware, the cost of living varies greatly across the United States. Groceries and rent in New York City, for example, are just not the same as in Minneapolis. And so the geographic allowance is meant to reflect those differences. There's also the fee that Business France collects, which depends on the size of your business. And so the 3 of those in total come out to between 3,300 and 5,600 euros a month, again, depending on where the VIE is doing their mission and also the size of your company. If you'd be interested in a more personalized quote, please feel free to contact our team. My email address should be in this presentation, but I can also put it in the chat. And I can also, reach out on LinkedIn or anything like that, and I'd be happy to give you a more personalized presentation and quote. The last element of the cost that I'll mention here is one-time costs, such as the two-way ticket for the beginning and end of the V.I.E mission. Any host company costs, for example, if you're not yet established in the United States and you need to use a host company for your V.I.E, and then also the cost for the visa. And now for the visa, I'll actually pass this off to Rihanna.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel. So now that we have a better understanding of the V.I.E program, this is where the FACC comes in. So this is essential that we talk about the J-1 visa, because this is the visa category that allows you to enter the US with the V.I.E contract to receive internship or traineeship missions here. So we can go ahead to the next the next slide. Thank you. So to give a little bit of an overview of the J-1 visa, it's essential to start from the beginning. So the J-1 visa category is a part of the exchange visitor program that was created under the US Department of State's Fulbright-Hays Act of 1961. So this visa category has been around for a long time, and its main mission is to create mutual understanding between Americans and people coming from all over abroad. The purpose of this visa is to allow young professionals or young students coming to the US to have exposure, whether it's through educational, cultural, or professional exchange. But today we'll be focusing specifically on the J-1 visa program for interns and trainees. So next, I'll discuss the purpose of our role at the FACC. So we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So at the FACC, we have actually been a US Department of State accredited sponsor since 1983. So we've been doing this for quite some time. And our role as a sponsor really aligns to that of the US Department of State mission. So we really want to empower young professionals by giving them opportunities to receive internship training or professional training in the US to ultimately build their professional and personal skills and development through cultural enrichment. So our role as a sponsor is to work directly with the exchange visitors, so those who have applied for the J-1 visa program, and their host companies. So we really want to make the J-1 visa application as seamless as possible. So that's our role. So you don't need any immigration lawyer or assistance from any lawyers. That is our role. We work directly with you, the company, and the applicant. So with that, we can go to the next slide. So our role as a J-1 visa sponsor, so I think the reason why we are so unique as a sponsor is because we have been doing this, as I said, since the early 80s. So we take a lot of pride in having compliance with federal regulations. So we're always doing our best as a team to make sure that our policies are closely aligned and updated to that of the US Department of State regulations. Another element of us as a sponsor is that we work with dedicated account managers. So when you start an application with the FACC, you will be assigned an account manager who will work directly with you and your company throughout the entire process. So from start to finish, we are your main point of contact. Even when you're in the US, we'll still keep tabs and we'll still want to be your main point of contact in case you have any questions. Additionally, most of our team at the FACC is bilingual in English and French, but don't worry because we do accept applications coming from all over the world. So that's just kind of a bonus at the FACC. And then another thing as a role is we like to keep constant contact with all of our exchange visitors nationwide. And by doing this, we have monthly newsletters. And these newsletters that go out, they will share information about cultural outings, volunteer opportunities, important reminders for your J-1 visa program. And we also like to showcase success stories of J-1 visas. So if you enjoyed your program, you had a great experience with your company, we want to hear that and we want to showcase that through our testimonial campaigns. These happen on our social media, our LinkedIn, through our newsletters. So that's something we also take pride in. And last but not least, when you choose to sponsor with the FACC, you also open the door to having a wide business network. So we have chapters across the US, and I can speak to the chapter in New York. So I believe we have over 800 members. And they are members that are coming from various different industries, whether it's luxury, fashion and beauty, banking and finance, food and beverage. We have that in our network. So when you sponsor with us, that opens the door to attend our networking events, learn more about your industry. And this is something that we are super happy to provide to exchange visitors and host companies. So next, I'll kind of go into some common misconceptions. This is super important because these are questions that we always receive as a sponsor. So the first is, can I still host a J-1 visa if I only have one employee at my company? And yes, you can. Just know that you still have to meet the host company eligibility requirement, and that's something that your account manager would work directly with you to ensure that you meet that eligibility. Next is often we receive applicants who said, I had a previous J-1 visa, whether they were exchange students or they had a previous internship. And you can, of course, apply for a second J-1 visa program. Of course, there are still regulations, and sometimes there are wait periods. So that's something we could assist with at the FACC, and we can provide you more information about this. Last two items, do we have a wait period? The FACC no longer has a wait period once you've completed your J-1 submission. So you no longer have to wait 90 days back in your home country before coming back to the US on another visa. So we just ask and we encourage you that when you complete your program, you should leave the US, return back to your home country to ultimately bridge your home ties, and then you can come back if you choose to on another visa once your program is completed. And last thing, what industries do we sponsor in? So at the FACC, we are super proud to sponsor in information, media, and communications, management, business, commerce, and finance, public administration and law, the sciences, engineering, and industrial occupations, and most recently, we've introduced hospitality and tourism. So if you have an internship or traineeship or a V.I.E contract under any of these industries, we are super happy to sponsor for you. So with that being said, and now that we have more of a basis of the V.I.E and the J-1 visa program, we can now move into our panel discussion. So we're super happy today to be joined with, as I said, our valued host company, Cartier, and we are joined here today with Camille and Federica. So we are going to go ahead and have them join, and Camille, we'll go ahead and start with you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. First of all, thank you, the French-American Chamber of Commerce and Business France for welcoming us to this online webinar. My name is Camille Pandariès. I'm part of the international talent acquisition team of Cartier. And I've been in the Maison for the past 3 years, working and in charge of the V.I.E program. I am myself a previous V.I.E in the company, so I'm a good ambassador because I know what it is to be a V.I.E, not in the US, but I've been a V.I.E myself. And I'm as an HR, I oversee all of our V.I.E recruitments, developments, and I'm joined by Federica, who I will leave the floor to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone, and thank you again, Rachel and Rihanna, for having hosted us, and Camille, of course. I work at Cartier North America in the strategic planning team here in New York. I'm Italian, but as the V.I.E program is for all Europeans, I've joined this opportunity. I had a previous experience within the group, and now I'm here with Cartier, and I joined like since March this program here in New York.
Great, thank you so much, both of you, for introducing yourselves. So we'll go ahead and get started with the discussion. So my first question is for you, Camille. So Cartier has actually been involved in the J-1 visa program by hosting V.I.Es in their US office since 2002. So I'm curious to know what motivates Cartier to continue investing in this initiative.
It is a great question. So we have indeed been investing in the V.I.E program since 2002, not only in the US, but in most of our entities and regions. But in the US, we had the chance to welcome more than 70 talents across our offices in New York City and Miami. We continue doing it because we believe it really brings remarkable value to our teams and to the talents, but I leave that to Federica to answer. And over the past 3 years, I've been with Cartier. I really see how the program constantly provides access to highly skilled, motivated young professionals, and it really enriches our teams with fresh perspective. And they can also work on full-time based projects. Through these initiatives, we've been able also to build a strong pipeline of talents of early career professionals, and the fact that there's less of a wait period between the V.I.E and the local contract has been also of help, because it has not only contributed to our short-term projects, but also have become long-term assets to the Maison, because we've been we've been lucky enough to have a very high retention rate in the past few years. And looking ahead, we're excited to be able to continue investing and hosting the V.I.E program at Cartier North America, because we believe it not only supports our global business strategy, but it also really empowers our talents. So that's it for the first question. I hope I answered.
Yes, of course. I think that that's super important that you mentioned kind of the value that it not only brings to Cartier, but also to the participants in the V.I.E program. So I think that kind of goes into our next question, actually.
Yes. Camille, thank you so much again for being with us here today. Your insight is very valuable as someone who has done the V.I.E program, albeit not in the United States, and now continuing to work and facilitating it. So this next question for you, I'm wondering, how has the J-1 visa V.I.E program facilitated a talent pipeline for Cartier, particularly in, as you were just speaking about, recruiting early career talents?
Yes, of course. I kind of already shared it, but it has been a true pipeline for our talents, because a lot of V.I.E transition into the organization after all in the long run. We've been lucky enough to have a retention rate between 60 to 80%, depending on the years. And it really brings value in creating a robust talent pipeline for early careers professionals. Our only limitations being the eligibility criteria, of course, set by Business France. So we must abide by the fact that they must tick the boxes of the eligibility criteria. But it enables us to open the doors of our US offices to a European pool of talents who are really willing to have an international career and who are looking to broaden their horizon. So we know that we're hosting people who see themselves in the long run having international mindset and moving from one market to another. And it brings real added value in the long run, because they know the business, they know the local practices, and then they travel to other markets and they bring this rich history of Cartier building its entity in North America. We really think that providing opportunities to these professionals enables also them to gain hands-on experiences. They develop cross-cultural understanding, and also I think the right soft skills necessary to shape the career, because they must be adaptable, flexible, showcase curiosity, and Federica is a great example of being already in the group and shaping your career by going abroad in the US and learning the specificities of the US markets. But I think she'll share more about her own experience. But it really enhances their value to the company and fosters a pipeline of talents who are globally oriented, and then who can transition into local opportunities into the organization. And as I've said, a lot of them stay with us. We're lucky enough that they stay with us after their V.I.E. So it really has proven to be an excellent program and mechanism for sourcing early career talents, while also offering a sustainable onboarding with a pipeline of skills, internationally minded professionals that really drive projects, real-based projects within the organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I will say that that's a feedback that I often get from companies who use the program, is just the level of talent and the level of motivation from the candidates that they receive for the V.I.E are just bar none. So yes, so speaking of highly talented and motivated, Federica, this question is actually for you now. I'm interested to hear from you. How did you find this V.I.E opportunity, and what interested you in applying?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for the question. I was able to find this opportunity thanks to the portal, the internal job portal, because as I was already working for Piaget within the group, I was able to find this thrilling opportunity because for me it was a mix of my background and the skills that I already achieved thanks to my previous experience, and also the opportunity to have the possibility to join a renowned maison as Cartier in an international mindset and environment as North America here in New York. And it was so a perfect match of the two. Also broadened my horizon that are not were already across Europe, but then like I broadened them outside Europe, beyond that in the US. And thanks to this kind of program, the V.I.E, it was easier for me to have the visa, and everything was made so super smoothly and easy on getting the visa and all the paperwork to be able to join the team here in New York.
Great. Thank you, Federica, for sharing that. It's nice to hear kind of how you found your way to Cartier. And now I'm curious to know, since you've been here since March, how has your experience in Cartier's New York office deepened your understanding of the American work culture? And how do you think it's developed your professional skills so far?
Thank you for the question, because even if it's been 6 months, so it's like not the middle, so it's early stage, but still like I have a buffer of experience here to talk about that. Honestly, I had the opportunity of being, it was incredible so far, and I have the opportunity to join a team that is cross-functional. So first of all, I had the opportunity to be able to see different projects, some of them also focusing on local communities. And this was super important for me because I was able to understand how rich and diverse is the culture in this country, in North America and US. And it also allowed me to have critical soft skills as like communication, team coordination, and a 360 view of the team here at Cartier North America, because I'm collaborating with the different departments, and so I have an holistic overview of the region, of the market, and of course, so both culturally speaking of the North America and the North America team here at Cartier. So that's reached a lot my open-mindedness and the strength, also the sense of rigor about like coordination and work mindset.
Thank you, Federica. That's super insightful. And I think that kind of goes into our next question, which is more about kind of the global mindset that these opportunities bring. So I believe that's you, Rachel, if you want to go.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, so this is actually a question for you both, Camille and Federica. Could you please describe how the J-1 Visa V.I.E program enhances Cartier's global business mindset for both its employees and its V.I.Es?
I think I'll start first, but then Federica will complete because she has the hands-on experience. I have only the vision of what it can bring to the company. But really, it fosters cultural exchange. Federica will talk about her background, but I think she has quite an international background. She's been moving quite a bit, and it shows real flexibility, and she brings this added value to the teams locally, as she's not the only example. We have so many great stories of people joining us and really adding their own touch, their own vision. They also bring a lot of collaboration because they join teams for 12 to 18 months, and they must bring their added value, ramp up quite quickly on their projects. So for me, it exposes us and exposes our team to new perspectives, market insights, and also problem-solving approaches. So it can really broaden the dynamics that we search for in terms of skills. And I think that at the same time, so that's from a team standpoint, but I think at the same time, V.I.E in turn can benefit from being immersed in a different business environments. I believe, Federica, it's your first time in the US, but of course, being there is when you're far away from your home country, you learn a lot about yourself and about the work culture. So you really, I believe, but I'll let Federica talk about her own experience. But my experience as the V.I.E was mostly in Switzerland, which is at the same time a close culture from France, where I'm from, but at the same time there's a couple of differences. And you learn how to be adaptable and hear about the US market corporate culture. It's really strengthened the international acumen that I think Federica has developed for the past 6 months, and she'll continue developing, and also a lot of professional growth. But Federica, what do you think about your experience in the US?
Thank you, Camille. Honestly, I can only confirm, I mean, at least on the team side. And I mean, as I told you before during the introduction, I am Italian. I have this French, I'm French speaker, but I have this kind of international European background for my studies and my previous work experiences. But at the same time, this allowed me to, like, being immersed in the Cartier North America team. On my side, I was able to share this fresh European perspective, but at the same time also understand and grasp the French nuances that are part of the company, the Maison culture. So I think it was a bit both, and of course I also learned a lot from the team here, their culture. Also here in the North America team, there are lots of international talents. So it's a mix and match of both French people, American, but also other international backgrounds. So it's really enriching.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for that insight. I would also like to ask another question as far as the impact on Cartier's goals. Camille, this question is for you, please. How does the J-1 Visa V.I.E program strengthen Cartier's global competitiveness in recruitment, training, and branding?
Well, the V.I.E program through the J-1 visa is really a win-win program, because it's really an attractive way to enter the US and to have this professional mission. It also enables us as a company to offer attractive missions. I hear a lot of candidates who really want to go to the US. That's their first destination, and they want to learn from the culture there, adapt, and go internationally. So it's really an attractive destination for candidates. So being there enables us to, I believe, attract top potentials who, I repeated it a bit, but who are looking for a global career, because a lot of them do a year and a half in the US and then move to other entities within Cartier or within the group. So I think that by offering this type of opportunity, which is unique, because there's only one way to do a V.I.E contract, it really helps us stand out in the competitive job markets, because it's been for the past few years quite tense to find the right talents, and that's why on our end we've tried also to reshape the recruitment process and to make sure that we adapt our recruitment practices to what candidates are looking for, and to assess the right skills we have to expect depending on the roles that we have to offer. And also, I think that the length of the program in the US, which is of 18-month maximum, depending on course, of course, on visa constraint, but Rihanna can tell you more about this point, allows us also to invest and develop these talents, because they stay a year and a half, which is enough so that they develop real projects and get immersed with our teams. And also they have their own learning experiences. They're exposed to our brand DNA, they're exposed to company culture, and usually we offer quite hands-on, and you have your own projects, and you really have to develop strong hard skills and soft skills. So they also learn about the global strategy, but also the local adaptation, as well as the operations of the company, And it really enables us to train future talents of the company, evolving for a future career. So it's really best of both worlds, because they have this international mindset, but adaptable to a local requirement, let's say.
Great, thank you. That's super helpful. And that actually kind of goes again into my next question, which is really for Federica. You know, I think Kim, you mentioned that this is your first time coming to the US and staying here for a longer period of time. So could you share how your experience in the US has kind of shaped your vision for a successful career after your program?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rihanna, for the question. Yes, it's true. I've been here in US as a tourist, as many people between us, but I've never been working here. So it's my first time, and it was really interesting to be able to participate to this program here in US. So I'm still thinking about which are my next steps in the near future within the organization, but like this experience allowed me to really adapt to this local culture, develop also this cross-functional soft skills and communicational skills, because it's my first experience outside Europe. So I'm really immersed in a more like melting pot and international global environment. So honestly, this opportunity, I will always have a place in my heart, both because for the people that I met along the way, but also for the skills, as Camille was mentioning, soft and hard skills that I'm developing now. So both like professionally speaking and also personally speaking.
Great. Thank you so much, Federica. I actually have another question for you, a little more about your experience. V.I.E missions are open all over the world. And so I wanted to hear a little bit more about what motivated your move to the United States for training, and a little bit more about how you adapted to the culture and work environment.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question, because of course, North America, at least I can say that as always, it's appeal for me, like this American dream has always been part of me and my childhood. So growing up, I always envisioned a bit of like New York as a melting pot of culture and dynamic environment. And I wanted to be part of it, to be honest. Because I wanted to, like, I was curious to feel it myself. And as I've already like traveled quite a bit, and having this international background, I thought like New York was another part and complementary to my experiences, and even at another level of really dynamicity and melting pot. So being the adaptability part was quite easy for me because of my background, so the international side of me, but it was also thanks to the people that I met here, both my team or the other teams, or the V.I.E at my company that I met along the way, and also the V.I.E all around New York, because thanks to Business France, we had the opportunity, and the French American Chamber of Commerce, we had the opportunity to do like happy hour, like monthly kind of meetup, in which like we met each other, and now we're becoming friends and like a family. So like a family, but far from your family. So I'm really happy that this was our adaptation here in North America.
Great. So you kind of mentioned and you kind of shared a little bit about the transition, and why you decided to come to the US, and also what Business France and the FACC has done for you while you're here. But I'm curious to know, once you secured your V.I.E mission at Cartier, how did the FACC and Business France assist you throughout the application process and ultimately before you came to the US?
Maybe you want to go first, Federica, because you've been the one along the journey. I've
Okay,
only
let's
back
start, and
into
then
the
I give the mic to you, Camille. So yeah, thank Rihanna, and honestly, thank you both for this, for all your support. Because on one side, like all for the bureaucracy side, all the paperwork, everything was so smooth. On the FACC side, both before joining and like securing the J-1, getting the visa, talking about the contract with the local team, and honestly, even now, whenever I have more like bureaucratic or paperwork kind of questions or doubt, I know that I can always reach to you, Rihanna, and you always have like a swift, rapid, and comprehensive answer. And of course, also the business France level, we've been able to have all kind of process before joining the team here in North America, and here also we have the platform. We will always be able to reach you out on all more the everyday life and here in North America. So honestly, thank you both for your support, and both the teams, your teams as well. So maybe now Camille has another perspective on that. So
yes, of course. I think it's nice that you're able to share your own experience because you've been supported and you've gone through the different steps. But for us, from a company standpoint, we're really strongly supported by the French American Chamber of Commerce. So throughout the entire recruitment process, we tend to do things on our end, but then when we secure the right candidates for the right opportunity, we liaise with Business France, and they are super supportive of every step of guiding us through the administrative procedures. And on the visa part, I believe that the French American Chamber of Commerce is really a key partner, as it makes it easier for us as a company, as they are directly in touch with the V.I.E who are to be onboarded. And it's an easy process without, let's say, the complexities of traditional visa sponsorship, because I know how tricky it can be as a company not to know where to start and not to be able to guide a candidate. So it's securing as a company to be able to rely on an external partner. And it also enables us to streamline the onboarding process, because we want to make sure that our V.I.E talents come in the right conditions and that they feel at ease when they move on the other side of the world. So it's true that for us, we've been assisted all along the way. And I think Federica already shared about her own experience. But on the company side, it's security that it brings to us.
Yeah, totally.
Great, thank you. That makes us both happy, I think, Rachel and I, to hear that it's such a smooth process for both the company and both for the V.I.E. So that makes us happy, and that's really what we're here for, to make it as seamless as possible. And that kind of goes into my last question, which is for you, Federica. So now that you've been here, as you said, for 6 months, you still have some time to go in your V.I.E journey. So I'm curious if right now, can you describe your overall experience in one sentence for the J-1 visa and V.I.E program?
Yeah, honestly, thank you for the question. Like, if I had to say, like, in one sentence, this, as you were mentioning, journey, it's been like an incredible, enriching journey, and both stimulating, dynamic as this fast-paced city itself, and of course, smooth. Thank you to your support.
Great. That sounds good. So now we're going to kind of move now into the Q&A session. And before I do that, again, I just want to thank you both for your availability and speaking with everyone today. So there may be questions that will be directed towards you, Federica, or you, Camille. So we're going to go ahead and open up the Q&A now. So the first question we have is, can we send you a spontaneous candidacy for a V.I.E contract? If so, where? So that may be a question for you, Rachel.
Sure, I'd be happy to help. So typically, the first step to get started into the V.I.E process is to actually sign up for our CVTIC. So I'm going to put a link to it in here. This is the link to the my V.I.E/VIA website. And from there, you are able to create a profile as well as upload your CV and start applying to missions as they come up. And then if there are companies that are looking for a specific profile that you have, then they are also able to reach out to you. So let's see, I'm going to put this into the chat there. Could I please just get a confirmation from someone that it appeared correctly? I believe so.
Yes.
Great. So that would be my advice just in general as far as it's the closest thing that we'd have for a spontaneous candidacy.
Great. Okay. So let me see our next question. So it looks like our next question is, what advice would you give a candidate for looking for a V.I.E in luxury in New York? So this may be a question for you, Federica.
Sorry. Honestly, to be open-minded, to have this kind of international global approach. In particular, if we have to talk about luxury in New York, you can start building up your background in this context. So luxury, first of all, and so acquire a few skills. And of course, this will be maybe the next step after having acquired a few skills on that role. And for New York, of course, this international mindset, this opening to be surrounded with different background people. And yeah, I would say so.
And on my end, maybe I can complete also from an HR standpoint, but it's true that my advice would be to as Federica said, we're looking for soft skills. We're looking for curiosity, we're looking for open-mindedness, flexibility, a lot of rigor, because of course we expect a high level of attention to detail, and we expect that people are passionate about what they do. So maybe my advice would be to explore, to connect yourself. I know that a lot of candidates love to connect with our V.I.E in the US to learn more about their exciting journey with us, and to make sure that they understand the expectations of the role. So that would be my advice, to leverage your soft skills to make sure that you look out for the right opportunity in the luxury market
Yeah, and sure, of course, if you need any support and you want to connect, feel free to reach us out and reach me out. We can, of course, have a talk.
Great. Thank you so much, Federica, and thank you, Kemi, for that answer. I think that's very helpful, and I think that answers actually a couple of questions that we received in the chat. We'll go ahead now to the next question, which is, can you please describe the application process, interviews, deadlines? So maybe I think we can start, if Kemi, if you wanted to begin, or Federica.
Of course. So on our end, we have made sure that no matter where you go as a V.I.E, you will go through the same process. So we always post the role online, and we ask you to complete an online application through our current website. We have developed this year, and we are very excited about it, a new V.I.E care webpage. So you can access actually some testimonials of our previous V.I.E who are still in the company. And you can access also the job offers. All of our job opportunities are in the same place. Then you will receive, if you are selected and shortlisted, an invitation to a video interview where we will ask you a few questions about your motivation, your understanding of the role, and this will also enable us to assess your language skills, which usually are required in all of our entities. So depending on where you go, and of course in the US, it's going to be mostly English. Then if you are selected, you might be invited for an interview process with our hiring team locally. The number of interviews here depend on the line manager. Then there is an interview with me. We each V.I.E does a cognitive assessment and a behavioral assessment, which they are debriefed of. And sometimes they also have a business case. The idea is to assess their hard skills, to see if they have a good understanding of the role that they're applying for. And then along the way, after a few steps, we contact you with an offer. And I remember sending the offer to Federica and how excited she was about the opportunity of joining us. So I know that it remains quite a competitive job offer. And we're here to assist you. And that's why I really invite candidates to get in touch with our V.I.E to learn more about the opportunities that we have to offer. But this is it about the hiring process on our side. And maybe Federica, you want to share about your own experience from a candidate standpoint?
Yeah, sure. I'm seeing that we have a few questions, so I'll try to be as fast as possible. But yeah, so Camille already explained a bit of the process. So on my hand, I can say that everything was smooth. I had these tests that I answered the questions, then we had this call, and then I met the team here. For example, in my case specific, and some point I had to have the business case, but then we decided that given to my previous experience and also the other candidates' previous experiences, we didn't need to prove our skills, but we had another call, the test, and then of course the offer that, as Camille was mentioning, I was really happy to receive. That I couldn't really speak at that moment. But yeah.
Great, thank you. So this next question, I think it will be mainly for Rachel and myself. And the question is, are there requirements for the applicants in terms of education and experience? So I'll quickly just speak to the J-1 visa requirements. So there are two different categories. As I've mentioned earlier, there is the intern and the trainee. So Federica currently is on the trainee category, which is for 18 months, and the intern category is for 12 months. So for both of these categories, I'm going to speak right now to the intern one. You do have to be either enrolled in a university program outside of the US, or you have to be a recent graduate of that university program within 1 year in particular. And on the trainee side, there are kind of two options to be eligible for this category. The first is that you can have an graduate degree or an undergraduate degree. It just has to be outside of the US. And you also have to have 52 weeks of professional work experience. So this can be internships, part-time work. It just has to be relevant to your mission in the US. And the other way to become qualified for trainee is if you have, you may not have a degree, and that's okay. You just have to have at least 5 years of relevant work experience to participate. So that's it on the J-1 visa side. But Rachel, I don't know if you want to speak to the V.I.E side.
Sure. Happily. So for the V.I.E side, the requirements are that the candidate be either French or from the European Economic Zone and be between the ages of 18 to 28, maximum 28 years old when you start your mission, but you can, obviously have a birthday during your mission and turn 29 or even 30. You just have to be 28 on the day that you start your mission. Yeah, those are really the only requirements. I will say that the median age is typically about 26. And with, everybody, or not everybody, but with most people being 26, they have either had some sort of work experience already. And like I mentioned before, about 90% of candidates in our database, I think, have their master's degree. So they have completed a significant amount of school.
Great. Okay, so we have someone who asked a couple of questions, so I'll just go through some of them because some of them we've already touched on a little bit. So the first one, do you think the V.I.E offers available online are sufficient, or do you recommend sending spontaneous applications to companies? And I believe, Federica, was it your position was directly on the Cartier website, or did you find it through the V.I.E kind of portal?
I think, but correct me if I'm wrong. I for sure I found in the internal portal of Richmond. I'm not sure I was able to see it on the Business France website, but I'm not sure. But so I suggest like, and I didn't send a spontaneous candidature for that. So I'm sure of that, but at the same time, it was the internal portal. I think was available maybe also on LinkedIn or like external portal. I think we don't have like differences of offers. It's just like the place in which we have them in our system. Yeah, let's say maybe Rachel or Camille know better.
Yeah, so on our end, we do, of course, receive, and we're happy to receive spontaneous applications because it showcases your strong motivation in joining us in general. However, it's also, we ask a lot of proactivity, meaning that if you apply directly to job offer, you have more chances to make sure that we recontact you if of course, your profile is aligned with the expectations of the manager. In the case of Federica, the job offer was only posted on our career websites, so internal and external, because we post it both ways. We sometimes leverage, of course, the Business France platform, but not always. So keep an eye if you are interested in Cartier in our website, but also go to the Business France website because this will be an open door to all industries, all types of opportunities.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let me see what else we have in the Q&A. There's one more question from this person, and they said, could you share any tips on how to build a network with recruiters or companies in New York and who may be looking for V.I.E talent? So maybe this is a question for you, Federica. I'm curious to know as well, like, have you been networking in New York and what has that looked like for you?
I would say, yeah, thank you for the question. Honestly, I think I can partially answer to that because, for example, I don't really know like employers that are looking for V.I.E as I'm already a V.I.E. So it's kind of different. But for the experience that during my network moments with the other V.I.E, I know that are like other companies, like all across all the different departments that you were mentioning before. So from tech, agriculture, luxury, and everything. But I think it's more about, yeah, thanks to the both FACC and Business France, or for example, I also have the opportunity to join from like times to times alumni networking moments of my previous schools, business schools, so both like Bocconi and ESP. They are an Italian and a French business school. But that said, I think on my end, this is more or less in the way in which I met and network with other people, both like V.I.Es or previous V.I.Es or other alumni that are living here. And I also like, yeah, that are living here in New York as of now. Maybe there are other ways, I don't know. So this is what my experience.
Great, thank you. There's an interesting question here that I believe is for you, Rachel, and I just want to make sure we get to it because we're kind of running out of time here. But someone said there have been discussions over the last few months to open V.I.E programs to companies not affiliated with a French one. Do you know if the decision has been made? So I believe this may be referring to the hébergement cases for the V.I.E. So maybe you could speak to that.
The last few months to open V.I.E programs to companies not affiliated to a French one. I have not heard about any decisions one way or another. As far as I know, it's still, there needs to be a French company that, that is the contracting company. So whether that is the French headquarters of a company, or if it is, I don't know, a foreign company, an American company that has a subsidiary in France, there does need to be a company in France that is the contracting company for the V.I.E. That being said, there is an option for what is called an EFE, or an Entreprise Française à l'étranger. And that is a more specific process. So I'd be happy to send a response, like a written response with a link to CCE right there, so that you would be able to get in touch with them. But as far as companies not affiliated to a French one, I am not aware of any changes on that front. And then let's see, I see a follow-up question on here. Does the French subsidiary need to have a minimum size / revenue? Yes, so the French subsidiary needs to have existed in France for at least a minimum of 1 year and have a minimum of 3 employees. And then as far as figuring out the contract and things like that, that's actually a step that takes place with our team in France, as far as, you know, the Business France monthly management fee and things like that.
Great. I think we have time for one more question. And let's see. So I think we can go ahead and ask, is the process long between the application to the interview, the first interview? So I believe, Federica, that may be a question for you.
Yeah, thank you. I think that the process between the application and the first, like the moment in which I had to record the videos and then the first call with Camille was quite straightforward. Really, like we're talking about like 1 week to 10 days, like maximum. Of course, the whole process is a bit longer because of the bureaucracy part and all the stakeholders involved. So the local team, the Swiss team, and so Camille, and of course the FACC, Business France. So yes, I would say so quick on the first part of the approach, but of course in the long, we needed more, like few months for the validation and then getting the visa. But it was everything easy and smooth.
Great, thank you. So I think on the J-1 visa side, it does take about 6 to 8 weeks to complete the entire J-1 visa application. Of course, we can do it more quickly. It really is just a timing depending on how quickly the company and the applicant uploads all of their documents and gathers everything that they need for the application. And also sometimes this is dependent upon embassy wait times, which if you go to the Paris embassy, it's pretty quick, but that can really depend. Okay, so I think we have about 1 minute left. So thank you everyone again for being here today. And you can always reach out to Rachel and I, whether it is through email, or you can follow us on LinkedIn, either at the French American Chamber of Commerce or at Business France North America. And we'd be happy to discuss with you about the V.I.E and the J-1 visa program. But again, thank you so much for Camille and then for Federica for being here today. It was such a great conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Thank you for having hosted us.
Okay, great. Well, have a good rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.